are the podcast club here at the New York Film Academy. I'm Ella, I'm your host.
My name is Dasha, I am also your host.
Yeah, we have a podcast. Down in the link below, we have a link for our GoFundMe, things that help provide snacks and equipment and transportation and rent, yeah, and many other wonderful things.
Celery.
Currently, we have a little lottery going on. If you donate $5 or more to our GoFundMe, you will be entered into the lottery for a chance to be our guest, which we will pick that at the end of the season. Yeah, for a chance to be a guest on our show.
You will see the updates on our Instagram, so follow our Instagram. The link is also below. And I think that's the main information.
Yeah.
And thank you for this amazing place.
Yeah.
For our director.
Okay, so this is I guess the second part.
So this is the second part. Yeah, obviously we are at the same location, but we changed clothes so you don't get tired.
Well, it's a brand new day.
It's a brand new day. We ate, we peed, and now we're ready. We have a sober mind.
So we're talking about comedy today.
We in the first part we talked about history a lot, and we said that we skipped commedia dell'arte for a reason, and the reason for it is that we're gonna talk about comedy and humor
right now.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
How
start
was
with commedia?
How was you?
Yep.
How did you? Can you phrase
How did
it
I learn about commedia?
Exactly. That was easy.
That was my introduction. I first learned about commedia in high school theater. Miss Deborah Voss, one of the best theater teachers I've ever had. You shout out.
I thought you said shut up.
Shut up. No, shout out. I think it was in our third semester or something. I don't know, but it was when we were learning about history and and yeah, we got to play around with the archetypal characters. Mr. Murphy, who is my other teacher, he loved I guess El Capitan. Now that I've had a refresher, he after high school I took a gap year and I taught theater at my old high school for a chunk of time, and for those classes I remember, yeah, we had masks and stuff that were brought up. Anyway, yeah, commedia. So in this recent learning of it, basics. There are character archetypes. 12, I think it's 12 in total, even though they're not all 12 aren't as important as everything. 12 character archetypes where each character has a mask and physical positioning that really goes along with it. And if you look across media ever since, and I think especially comedic media, all of these characters kind of show up and you see them in relation. There's a master class and there's a slave class of people. Yeah, is that what's up? So you
get into it. You said I just have to show. So there is basically 8 archetypes. That are mostly used in sitcoms, for example, that we're also going to talk about a bit later, which now makes sense. 8 here, 8 pillars, makes sense. Okay, so first is Zani. Zani
Who is a slave.
It's basically a slave. It's the lower class.
It's kind of the lowest of the low.
The lowest of the low, yeah. And they had this. They have this mask that was very with big nose, if I'm not wrong.
Big nose.
Okay. It doesn't matter. So Pantalone, who's usually
old greedy man obsessed with money and sex.
Thank you. Il Dottore, the doctor. Il Dottore.
Talks about ad infinitum.
Yeah, well-fed and learned. He's a doctor only name, and depicted at items as learned physician and other whatever. Yeah. Arlecchino, Harley Quinn. We know Harley Quinn is based on Arlecchino. It's who was he? I just want to know the phrase, Okay, faithful valet or servant. He's also the clown, the acrobat, providing lots of comic relief. Arlecchino is actually also his Zannies. So Zannies are just like servants and slaves, basically. Arlecchino is one of them, but he has very specific archetype. He has very clownish clothes. That's how
very
clowns
specific
begin.
type of walk.
Very specific type of walk, yeah. And he's always hungry, and he serves people. Okay, it says Pulcinella. I don't know if we learned.
We didn't. I bet that's Colombina. Or
no, Colombina is here, and we have
what's the other one?
Brigella, and we
Brigella?
have El Capitano.
We didn't learn about Pulcinella.
I don't. Okay, let's skip it. But
so
Colombina.
Colombina, she's kind of like, she's the smartest person in the room, even though she's of the servant class. She is incredibly cerebral. She's strong in her femininity. She wants to be in love, but there's these archetypes called the lovers that are constantly battling that too. They're actually unmasked. What are some other big ones? There's the captain, who's pretty much a liar. He's like a captain, and he's constantly talking about the dragons that he kills and the crusades, and sex and sleeping with women, and it's all a lie.
And Brigella.
And Brigella, we didn't learn too much about Brigella.
Yeah,
and if I'm being frank, Brigella kind of bores me.
It's a servant, but usually with several short green stripes.
Like
okay.
Point being, with all of these archetypes, these characters, whoever was playing them would play them for a very long time. So like there was one person playing Pantalone for years and years, and it kind of just set a basis for like comedic relationships. They were so physically outrageous and vulgar and outward with like mind games and playing games that it was just it was the comedy of the time.
It was their plays were improvised basically, which is interesting because when we're gonna talk about improv, that's not how the improvisations start. Even though their plays were improvised, they didn't have scripts, but that's why they have really stable characters that were archetypes that they can talk about and create those stories. And also lovers, and like lovers are people who don't wear masks usually. They're all about love. They're all about idea of love, and there's
beautiful
and a bit foolish, but all of them. So yeah, the main it's all about material stuff. So it's about sex, it's about money, it's about I'm the server and I'm the boss, and stuff like that. Like
in class, the games that we would play, we would be given newspapers, and like we would be told to run around and like hit each other on the butt.
I'm dead
and
serious.
if you get hit, like dead serious, and if you get hit on the butt, you like, and if you hit someone, you point and laugh.
And it's incredible because it is childish, and it's very so vulnerable childish. Because as people as they get older, we're like, no, it's childish. No, I'm not gonna do it. It's vulnerable. It requires stupidity or foolishness from me. I'm not gonna do it. And in this class, we were challenged by those games. And one of the game that we also did is that we were standing in the circle, and we had to pretend to be either servants, like slaves, Zani, and the boss with a newspaper. And Zani comes to if I'm the boss, I'm like, Zani, come here.
Oh, wow.
And Zani always would say, oh, wow. And I would say, you know what, Zani, you didn't do like a small thing that I asked you to do.
I'm so sorry, I killed your dog.
And Zani would reveal a thing that boss wouldn't know.
A horrible truth.
Yeah. And boss would become mad and would heat and absolutely, with this newspaper, say
and
nasty.
Beat the shit out of Zani.
Yeah. And this is like, those are crazy games. They trigger a lot of people. They triggered me. And I think, like, at that time, just doing it on a daily basis and knowing that it's actually what's happening, it's really, it's hard to imagine. I don't know.
And it's interesting, too, how rooted in physical comedy it is. Like, I think now, like, there's so many different branches of comedy. But, like, physical humor is something that always makes us laugh no matter what. Like, for whatever reason, we see someone fall and it's funny. For there's no real reason or proof to it, but it's interesting that like these roots, these like stronghold roots, are all about strong physical presences.
So Commedia dell'arte, it's like 1200s. Maybe we don't need to go deep into history. Oh, 1400s.
But it serves as a good blueprint for
how commedia started developing.
Yes.
Comedy started developing in general.
Absolutely.
And probably if we're still talking about history, let's go to our sitcom class that was last semester.
Cool.
And 8 pillars of comedy, which now I see how they interfere with each other.
Co-align with one another. Yeah. Absolutely.
So 8 pillars of comedy. It's basically archetypes and sitcoms that we all love and watch.
8 characters of comedy. Are you talking about the characters of the pillars?
Yeah, I'm talking about characters.
Yeah. I haven't really thought about like mapping out where the 8 characters of comedy would be derived from the Commedia characters. I mean, think of it now.
The Beach and Bastard is probably Columbina.
Crazy.
Probably.
So
lovable loser, I guess lovers.
Yeah, so there's a lovable loser, the bitch, the bastard, the neurotic.
Logical smart one. Okay, I'm showing. Yeah, lovable loser, logical smart one, neurotic, bitch, bastard, the dumb one, in their own universe, womanizer, manizer, materialistic one. So all those archetypes are used in the sitcoms.
Wow. Materialistic one might be Pantalone.
I don't know. Okay, do you want to talk about like what sitcom we both know? The Office. Do you know The Office?
Of course.
Well,
yeah. Yeah, The Office. Good sitcom.
So we're gonna break down The Office and 8 characters of comedy.
Okay, yeah, cool.
That would be cool.
Okay, Jim is the lovable loser.
Or Michael.
Both, I guess.
Well, it depends who's watching.
Yeah, and that's also the thing with these characters is it's like there's... Okay, so like Kelly from The Office, if you know Kelly, she's very much like the materialistic one, and I think stays in that category. But characters can jump in between these other ones. The whole reason why these 8 characters of comedy are here is because it's like their interactions with one another are like consistently proven to have funny results. Like we see who's Pam.
So lovable loser is not Jim. I think it's Michael. Because also they say, they say here in this article, for instance, Jim on The Office would definitely be the logical smart one when dealing with Michael or Dwight. But in his interactions with Pam, who secretly loved in the first couple of seasons, he would feel more like a lovable loser. So of course they are like, it's combination. Every character has everything in them, but probably I would say that Michael is lovable loser. Logical smart one is Jim. Neurotic. Is it Pam? I don't think Pam is neurotic.
What's her face? Blonde.
Angela. Might Angela be neurotic? Probably. I don't know.
I'm neurotic.
The bitch bastard. Probably
she's
Angela.
Yeah.
Well, the dumb one, Dwight.
And Kevin.
Yeah. In their own universe is what's his name? Craig. No. The guy, the old dude in The Office.
Oh, Creed.
Creed. Womanizer. It's either Meredith with the red hair who drinks all the time.
Absolutely.
And Ryan.
Kind of Jan. Yeah, and Ryan. Absolutely Ryan.
And materialistic one, Kaylee. Okay.
So this is one sitcom that has all of them.
Yeah. And we have more, like
there's
Modern
every
Family.
sitcom.
Every sitcom is based on this 8 characters of comedy. There is a book.
It's a good book.
That was written by Scott Sedita. I think I pronounced his name right, or if no. But this book is really great. It teaches you
technical aspects of comedy,
and teaches you how to write jokes, how to understand jokes in the script as an actor.
I'm gonna in a second ask you to pull up what some of those are, because that's something. So I have always been a comedic person, or like I've watched sitcoms and had comedy in my life the whole time. And I think in general, like when people think of comedy, they don't think of it as like this super technical thing, but it's 10 times more technical than drama is by a long shot. Like the way that the jokes are written, the way the certain word choices so that you have punctuation that builds off of one another, the way that consonants build is incredibly purposeful and difficult to do.
I found actually PDF just like in
awesome.
open, so you can find PDF if you're a filmmaker or just someone who wants to learn about sitcom and comedy. It's free and it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's really well written.
Yeah, very well written.
Because I guess it's technically a textbook, but like for all the textbooks that
we read, it's one of the best ones, probably.
It sounds like this guy is just like speaking to you. He uses a lot of good examples.
Yeah.
And,
Let's talk about common joke terms, like some of them.
Sure.
The callback jokes in sitcom, which it's like what in real life you would probably call like a local joke. When you create a joke with your partner and then later on you would... Inside joke. Yeah, and then later on you would like come to this inside joke. It's the same in sitcoms. Callback is a reference to a joke what happens early in the show. That can mean repeating a big joke or simply referring to a piece of the big joke and later jokes or physical actions. And also it creates the feeling of comfort
and for
safety.
Feeling of comfort and safety, and for audience members who like are, because sitcoms like are designed so that you can kind of pick up at any single episode and be able to watch it, but if you're a fan and if you've been watching it chronologically, the callbacks are satisfying to that audience member to be able to be like, I know what they're referencing to. Which, by the way, Seinfeld, which we'll get more into detail later, but I think of all the sitcoms, Seinfeld does callbacks so smoothly. It's really beautiful. Like, if you know about it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's referencing like 10 different episodes and like a whole minor storyline that has been building for like multiple seasons. But like to a newcomer, it still works in a regular format, which is just wild.
Interesting. I don't think The Office does a lot of callbacks over seasons.
Yeah, within seasons.
Within seasons, probably, and it's more. Maybe it's not even callbacks. It's more like what just happened, which is not a callback joke, but yeah. And the blow or the button in the.
Oh, I forgot about the blow.
Yeah, a blow or button is the last joke in this scene. It can either be a piece of a dialogue or a physical action. You will most definitely find them at the end of a scene right before a commercial break. That's because each and every comedic scene ends on a joke. The idea is to keep the audience laughing until they'll come back after the commercial break. The button is something that
ties it together, and the blow is something that opens it up.
The next episode. Yeah. Which is
turnaround jokes, which is something like if I were to say like.
What is it?
Now it's so hard for me to come up with an example. Like I'm trying. What's the one with the shirt where it's like I love that shirt on you, but that's a nice color.
No, I love this shirt.
I love that shirt, but not on you. So you set the audience up with like you're going to say one thing and then you reverse what the expectation is.
Yeah. It actually gives you a lot of good examples from the show, like Seinfeld, The Office, Parks and Recreations, which I love as well. So you should really look into this book because probably it's going to explain you better than we do right now.
Yeah.
But let's not go deep into it.
No, what's the last one? Because I have forgotten. Thank you.
Triplet.
You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yes. Triplet is a joke when you...
build upon it.
Yeah, you do setup, add, and joke. And like it's a double triplet I just said, but like triplet is setup, add, joke. And same.
Yeah,
it goes
we don't need to go too deep into this at all, but what is
I don't want to.
interesting about all of this, our teacher for this class said that like once we learn about the technicalities, it's going to ruin sitcoms for you forever because you can see like the science of it, for lack of a better term, and it hasn't happened for me. Yeah. I'm very much able to still enjoy.
Because I think sitcoms. I was still kind of really aware of what's going on and how the jokes are built. It's just now I know the vocabulary for it, but it didn't ruin for me. And it's comfort show, so I'm still gonna watch it. And I'm
no
still
matter
gonna,
what.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually rewatching The Office right now. So
I can't find it on any of my platforms for like free because it was free on so many platforms for such a long time.
Because I think that's what's going to be interesting.
I think... what do I find funny? I think...
How do you...
I think, oh my gosh, I think really stupid things are funny.
Really stupid things are funny.
Which is not what I would have originally thought. But now that I know all of this, and I've been asked to like bring in 5 minutes worth of videos that you think are funny. Like really stupid, vulgar stuff. That is like there's a scene from We're the Millers where they're like doing Pictionary and and she's like big dick, big black dick,
Well, with
Big Black Hawk Down. I can't. It's stupid. It's just, but it's so stupid and it's so vulgar, and I can't even do it justice. But it's just like there's TV shows that I like that are just like very erratic things that are going on all at one time and kind of don't make sense. I guess I also like social commentary, but like buried beneath kind of stupid humor. Like, I think really smart humor doesn't really make me laugh. Like, I find it interesting, but it doesn't really get me laughing.
I like stupid smart humor, you know?
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
I was growing up on a lot of like comedy shows in Ukraine and a lot of post-Soviet Union shows, let's say this. And there is like a show. So in our post-Soviet Union countries, we usually have like festivals where people have like comedy groups, and they compete with each other. Who's the funniest one, basically? In Russia, it was KVN. In Ukraine, it was Liga Smecha. Liga Smecha, it's basically like League of Laughter.
Cool.
Yeah. KVN. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Liga Smecha.
Were they comedy shows like stand up? Like they were doing stand up competition?
Okay, so it's basically you have, let's say, 8 teams. Okay, you have 8 juries. In Liga Smecha, it was working like that. You have 8 juries. And when the festival just started, all teams are coming and presenting their like sketches, presenting their games, not games, but like scenarios. It's not plays, but it's something like plays. They act funny scenarios, present funny scenarios in front of these juries. And those juries have several teams. They're like, okay, if I like you, I'm gonna take you in my team. If I don't, you leave the festival.
Like The Voice.
Yeah, basically. But look, with
comedy.
Cool. Yes. And then later, when all the teams are built, 8 juries have their teams, they start compete with each other. So they write like scenarios, funny scenarios, and they present, and jury vote for which team was the funniest one, and they win by the end of it, or not win. So that's what I was growing up. So I was growing up on a not improvised like funny scenarios, you know?
Yeah.
Explaining it, that makes
sketches.
sense. Okay, yeah, on stage. And then I was grown up. Sorry, that I'm just gonna go into deep dive on this small part. And then they created improv live show in Ukraine. 3 comedians. They are improvising on stage, and they have guests, and they have this all games as well, and it's funny. So, and then on stand-up, like I was watching stand-up since I was, I don't know, 10 or something.
Wow, cool.
So I was growing up on a lot of humor.
Comedy competitions.
Yeah, comedy competitions.
How is that judged? Because like there's so many different.
If it's funny, it's funny. If it's smartly written, if it's well written, if it's well presented, well acted, I'm gonna give you my point. If I didn't laugh, you don't have my point.
And there's the 8 judges are cool. So it's
and
like
if it's my team, I
variety.
cannot vote for my team.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is
interesting.
Yeah. So like comedy is really like a big competitive thing in my country.
Interesting that it is become competitive.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know if I grew up with comedy being necessarily competitive, but I feel like I grew up in a really funny house. Like I feel like my mom is so funny. I feel like growing up, my dad was pretty funny, and I remember my parents used to have what they used to call G8s, like grade 8s. So it was them 2 and then 3 other couples, where like all the adults would come hang out, and like us kids would hang out too. But I just like the laughter at that table, I remember being a big deal. And then like after everybody would leave, I remember like we would recount what funny jokes were told through the night. Definitely not necessarily competition, but interesting to think about. Like there's definitely always been like who's the funny person in the room, sort of thing.
Definitely. My family doesn't have maybe kind of the same, because everyone in my family is like really funny, really hilarious. And my family, especially like my parents, mom and dad, they love intellectual humor. So they taught me a lot of and sarcasm. Yeah. Which is like huge in my family as well. So I'm also a big sarcastic person. And
I feel like I used to be more sarcastic than I am now.
in like post-Soviet Union country, in Soviet Union, they had like a lot of comedy show. You're good. Don't. You're good. A lot of comedy like shows, and not sitcoms, but it was like also sketches on film, not on stage, but on film with kids.
Okay.
Like kids would do comedy. It called Yeralash.
Yeralash?
Yeah. It was a lot of like weird stuff. But
cool. What shows did you watch growing up? Did you watch American shows?
You see, I was growing up on a lot of our dramas, melodramas, and comedy, Ukrainian stuff. So I know our humor really well. I think I could be funny in my country. I think I would be considered a funny person. I don't know, but I feel like I logically understand our humor and structure of our humor and what we like to joke about and how we like. We had a friend here at NIFA. We met him. He was from Georgia. He left NIFA already. I don't want to say his name.
Yeah, I know who.
But so even from Georgia, who is not like, it's not Slavic country, but still we kind of have the same humor. And I remember when he was joking every time, it would crack me up just because we like the same thing. Yes. Cool. Yes. And in English, it's really hard for me to build jokes. I usually use sarcasm rather than like intellectual jokes. Yeah. Yeah,
I feel like I'm actually still very unaware of when I'm being funny. Like, I think when I try to be funny, it is not funny. But like,
no, same.
It's so, I don't know, I don't understand still, like, sure, well, we were just talking about structure of sitcoms, but like, yeah, like when we ask, like, what do I find funny, I don't understand the structure of the things that I find funny. I just do. Yeah.
Sometimes when I came here to America for the not for the first time, when I started living here, and you've been joking around me, and other people from the US were joking in my class, I would find your jokes so funny because they were new. It's just new way to joke, new phrases, new. Why was it funny? Because if I translated exact way into my language, it just would not make sense, and that's why it's hilarious. Like, I love absurdity, but in your language it makes total sense, you know. So that's why it's very interesting to get used to your humor. So I was not answering your question. I was not growing up on American,
watching American stuff. Interesting.
Maybe later on in my life, yes, but not like when I was young.
Growing up watching it. Yeah, I think there was really two shows that I grew up on that, like, Friends and Sex and the City. Like, those were the two shows that, like, all of the time just were kind of on and around. Yeah, and when I think about, like, movies that I've been around, it's almost only comedic movies or, like, romantic comedic movies that I've been growing up on.
You do know a lot of comedy movies.
I know. You want to pull up my list?
Sure.
My comedy list? Yay!
It's literally right here.
So follow me on Letterboxd. I'm Bob L. or Bobel. These are all the movies that I think are funny. It's interesting to me to see, like, how, like, the consistency of actors that are within all of these movies. So Jennifer Aniston, she starts in a comedic show, ends up doing comedic movies, ends up doing dramatic movies as well. But she, in those dramatic movies, like, she's typecast more in that than she ever has been in comedy, because she's, like, known as somebody who is allowed to be comedic. Like, I'm curious as to how people kind of traverse that world. Like, if you start as more of a dramatic actor, who's on this, Robert De Niro's on this list, right? He started in drama, I guess. I don't really know what his first couple of movies were, but, like, he's known for having a lot of good dramatic movies. But then he's in this series, Meet the Fockers, which is a hilarious little series for it. And, like, I think it's interesting when you see, like, a heavy dramatic actor move into comedy. But that makes sense, because I'm gonna start to tie in a lot of other things. With improv, and what I was kind of just saying, whenever you try to be funny, it's usually not funny. So it makes sense to me how, like, an actor who is used to have you seen Meet the Fockers? Or Little Fockers? Dude, it's stupid. It's funny. But yeah, I think part of the reason why people find his role in this is because he's not playing like a jokey guy. He's playing a very serious person still.
I think
but we find the humor in the seriousness of that.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn too. It's such a nuanced thing. Yeah, there's no way to learn it. Honestly, it really stresses me out because like all of what we were just saying, growing up in a funny household, having watched so many comedy movies, having seen so many sitcoms, like I don't think I'm that funny on film. Like when we were acting in sitcom class, there was a girl in our class who just had very natural humorous reactions. Like she didn't do any of them on purpose, but she just had like a natural urge to have a reaction at a certain time that was just so funny.
Yeah. Some people, I guess,
don't know how to do it. It's because I'm thinking too much about it. I know why.
Because we know the structure so much already. She didn't learn the structure. She was one of those who just have this in her
natural ability.
Yeah. For us, probably we need to learn timing. We need to learn all the technical stuff, which makes it harder. Yeah, definitely. But that's why I really appreciate The Office and Parks and Recreations or any other actually sitcom.
Documentaries.
I like mockumentary. This is my favorite style of sitcom. Yeah. That's why the Parks and the Office because that's so cool because you're like talking to a camera but you're still not yourself and it's just hilarious. Like you need to know how to do it or you need to let go so much of your character that you're just able to talk to the camera. And I don't know, for some reason it makes me really excited.
It's wild how groundbreaking that was. Because The Office was the first to do it like that, yeah.
Well, probably the UK The Office.
Yeah,
I don't really know. I don't really know, but yeah, the mockumentary style is the best. But
style.
Yeah. And also, what about the YouTubers, like the bloggers, or TikTok, for example? The humor changed so much that it's easier to receive funny content right now on the internet. Like I know you were watching, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, Theo Von, right?
I love Theo Von.
I think, because again, he's really smart dude. He's really smart dude. And he is really funny. Like, his comedic timing is
impeccable.
Yeah. Same with Brittany Broski. Again.
Very smart.
Yeah. Also
stupid, smart humor.
But, I've noticed that it's really hard for me to watch them because I think they're really funny, but I cannot. It's hard for me to keep up with them with language. There is still language barrier between me and them. But as soon as I understand them fully, I think my English is on the good level then.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
interesting.
Why. Because I watched Brittany Broski with Cole Sprouse. Funny. Really
He's a
great.
Smart guy, by the way.
Yeah, which is I don't know why they showed or they made him look. He made himself probably look. It's not what I'm not talking about. But yeah, I'm growing up, not growing up. I'm watching and still growing up. Ukrainian, a lot of YouTubers, bloggers like Levina Jippy, respect. I like those. I like same kind of people, but they create entertaining videos when they. They did stand up, they do improvisation, which is I love watching people joke not on purpose. Not scenario wise. I love improvisation. I love those kind of I love funny people. I like people with good humor because it's easier for me to learn from them rather than from a comedic movie or
I don't remember the last time that I saw or really looked into a sketch comedy something.
No, I'm not looking. They're not doing sketch comedy.
Yeah, we're talking about improvised comedy. Yeah, I'm I don't know the last time that I really saw that. And with Brittany Broski and Theo Von and all of these people, it's interesting too because they speak quickly and they dance between subjects very, very quickly. And that I think comes from Vine and now Instagram Reels and TikTok, and clipping, if we were to watch a long form, I think that's also I guess I don't really know this, but some people I've spoken to who haven't seen The Office or Parks and Rec or other older things, I guess Friends and Seinfeld and those types of sitcoms are a little bit different. They're a little faster paced, but The Office is a fairly slow burn show. It's not super like jump. And like Office is a fairly slow burn show for a comedic show. And people that are introduced to it, I've literally spoken to 2 people about this, so this isn't like a lot of context, but they say that they have a harder time getting into it and finding it funny because of that attention span. Because now we're used to seeing in a 30-second clip somebody make 6 jokes about 6 different things and
And that's, and also they like Theon and Brittany Broski, they do a lot of and the guy who, never mind, but like those bloggers, YouTubers, they do a lot of references to inside jokes of the US, of the politics, pop culture stuff that I know like the basics, but I don't know the deep dive into like things. So sometimes I'm just missing out just because I simply don't know something. And I still really love them because they keep me, I don't know, I'm really paying attention.
On the edge of your seat.
Yeah, and I'm learning like American humor, which is probably important for me. But yeah. And now like there is comedy film humor. There is improv humor.
There's stand-up humor.
There's stand-up humor. And there is Fleabag humor. I could not talk about it.
No, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
it. It's also because that's fairly dark. That's fairly dark humor, I think.
I think it's British humor. I don't think it's dark humor. I think it's
British humor tends to be kind of dark, though.
Yeah.
British people are very, I think, unafraid to...
talk about topics that usually are, like, taboo here or, like, even...
Absolutely.
Why? So Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she created so many great short shows, like Fleabag, Run, Killing Eve, Crushing. I love her shows. And I think they're extremely funny. But also... they're funny and really sad at the same time. I think she's really one of those intellectual, funny people who knows how to find a dot and make you cry immediately after you just laughed at a joke. And this is like the best, this is like the highest level I think that's possible to have in the movies or like pre-planned scenario. And I really, really respect her, and I think her humor is something that really makes me... Like, I read her scriptures of the Fleabag, for example, because I'm doing other scripts right now. And it's so funny how she does it on paper. Like, you read paper script, and it's hilarious even on paper, without even seeing extras playing. And I think it's amazing. It's just amazing. Yeah.
I wonder how, like, how do you do that? How do you do that? Like, to be able to make somebody experience such a wide range of things. Yeah, she's able to, like... pull very fantastical things and elements, like Killing Eve, like that's very fantastical, but make it feel really real. She's really good at that. Have you watched videos on her talking about her writing?
Yes,
I'm sure. And you've read her scripts. I know that you have the script for Fleabag.
Yes.
When she talks about her writing, what's her process like? Do you know?
I don't know the process, how she like writes specifically, but reading scripts and thinking and like seeing how she talked about how she, like, for example, did Fleabag. So it was like one woman show in the first place. She read that she wrote it like a monologue and stuff. And it's interesting because she still presents it like from time to time, like rarely. The last time was probably last year when we went to see Fleabag, which is, by the way, incredible. But
Great
who
show.
saw Fleabag, who saw the show Fleabag, second season and first season, it's still very, very different from the monologue that she talked about. It's like combination of those 2 seasons. And in monologue, she doesn't talk about priest. It's more about her sister's story and...
But when she writes, is it like stream of consciousness type of writing? Or does she like have, I guess, plot points that she kind of figures out her way to? Curious about that.
I'm also
because her stuff, like, I don't know, like Fleabag, the whole guinea pig thing, like, to me that is so... Who thinks of that? How do you come up with that?
Well, I think
so niche.
By the way, one time I know this story that it's not a comedic part, but and I'm gonna spoiler. I'm sorry, it was posted for a long time. You could have seen it, but the second season, the first episode, is there like big dialogue in the dinner table, and there is a moment. Spoilers, by the way. So if you want to skip, let's skip. The last time I say it. So her
spoilers,
sister,
by the way.
by the way, I'm gonna spoil it right now. So her sister, spoiling, had a miscarriage during this dinner, during this dinner thing, and so I know that Phoebe Waller-Bridge before like long time before writing the show, she had a conversation with a also like famous person right now, but I don't remember her name.
Okay.
And she told Phoebe about her miscarriage during like a meeting, and the girl was saying, yes, I had this meeting and I didn't want to skip it. I felt uncomfortable to say I can't come, so I had miscarriage during the meeting and I still stayed at the meeting. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge is writing this story like second season, and then she texts this girl and is like, I am so sorry, but I feel like I wrote your story about miscarriage into my show. Are you comfortable with that? So that's what I'm feeling. Cool. Like that's a great example of how she uses just stories from different people, and it's just there. Like she's a great observer. Like if you see her interviews and how she tells story, it's very interesting. She's a great storyteller, and that's what it's coming from practice again.
Sure.
As well again. Wait, sorry, but as well, it's coming from practice, and also I think she was in Juilliard. I think.
That sounds kind of familiar.
But
I don't know,
before I say the Juilliard, I found 7 writing tips from Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Cool.
So toss things out. As a writer, is the subtle art of throwing your ideas in the trash. Always be writing. Okay, let your excitement lead the way. So yes, basically write what you like and then figure that out. Abide by the rule of 3. I always think there should be at least 3 things going on in one scene at the same time. I love that. I remember
I feel
that
like
now.
I was gonna say this sounds familiar.
Yeah. Oh, because I did presentation. I did presentation for given circumstances, and I put that thing. Use comedy and drama to your advantage. Exactly what she does. Yes, write for one person. Find one friend that you love and care about, and write it for that person to make that person laugh and to make that person cry. Which she does.
I like that tip.
Fucking amazing. Killing Eve, crushing, Fleabag, Run,
crushing.
Everything what she does, it's really fucking upsetting. It breaks my heart every time I watch it. But it also I laugh so hard every time I watch her shows. It's incredible. And say the vulnerable thing. I mean, that's what she does as well. That's the point of her shows, basically. Love is very vulnerable, and love is is the main theme in all her, like in all 4 shows that I've just said. And it makes sense. Like Run, it's a story about 2 people that are in love but they cannot be together. Crushing, same thing. Fleabag, same thing. Killing Eve, same thing. It's very cool because we cannot create new stories. There are already all stories
but to retell them in an
but you can
manner.
approach them differently, and it's incredible. Those 4 shows so different.
I haven't heard of Crushing.
I think I showed you Crushing. Crushing is like 2000 maybe 14 or something.
I like that she's constantly writing down situations.
Yes.
I definitely think, we've done that for certain things. I feel like I've done that for a while, even before I really even knew what I was doing, writing down something. What I find difficult about that method, though, is like the context can sometimes be really important. And when you're just like jotting down like
16
bits of dialogue that people said back and forth to each other without remembering what it was in, it sometimes isn't as funny anymore. So that's an interesting skill to pick up on, like practicing observation.
Yeah,
and practicing.
I just want to give a small advice, if you mind. What I do and what helps me to write things, or like at least notice how other people do it. I have scriptures of you can find them online. Usually, you can buy them, and you watch the show or the movie with the script and see what was changed, what director did, what actor did, what was actor's choice, what was writer's choice and stuff. So it's pretty cool. It taught me a lot. With her, I really like how Phoebe is really good in writing dialogue. it's again, she observes a lot, and that's why her dialogue is very alive. And actors or for her shows are always incredible. Like they know specifically how to deliver lines, and it's the magic of the film, really. And I just love her humor and love her
knows
approach.
how to execute that. Cool.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that you find dialogue to be like a big basis in like comedic things that you enjoy. When you were just talking about that, when I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna go back to my movie list.
Not always dialogue though.
Of course,
she does
not
a lot
always.
of very
nuanced
lot of funny
things.
Yeah. So funny. Oh my god. Watch Fleabag and watch Crushing and watch Run and watch Killing Eve. 2 seasons of Killing Eve are good. Third and fourth seasons are okay because they're changed writers. But
I've only seen the
you
first
will love
2.
Judy Comer after that because I am her fan now.
Okay. But who I'm about to start talking about is Vince Vaughn. You know Vince Vaughn?
Maybe.
He.
Oh, by the way, I also thought that. Oh my god, Emma Stone new movie. Poor Things. I enjoyed Poor Things comedy as well.
But coming back to contrast. Heavy topic matter mixed with a funny way of going about it. I'm gonna talk about Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so this has been. So he, to me, is just. His facial expressions for me are the things that absolutely get me. He, like. I wish I could pull up different scenes from stuff. It's just so. It's the littlest of little expressions that, like. People cut to him, and it's just. It cracks everybody up. And he tends to play kind of like, I guess, the logical smart one, or kind of like, I guess, the straight man of the scene, while somebody else is like acting crazy around him. So we're usually like coming from his perspective and like aligning with his views. I've also heard that like other actors that work with him, he just does takes over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, like to the point where other people want to stop, but every time he does a take, he does it a little bit differently. He likes to have like a small kind of skeleton structure of what the script is, and I could be lying about, I don't know exactly how much dialogue shifts around, but definitely like a structure of events, and redoes it over and over again. He Bradley Cooper, when Bradley Cooper was doing the movie with him and Zach Galifianakis and the guy from The Office who plays Andy. What's that movie called?
I don't know.
What's that movie called? Let me look it up. Is it on my list here? It should be if it's not on my list. Well, you know what? Let's see if we can go about it here. But Bradley Cooper really loves Vince Vaughn.
Okay.
Bradley Cooper was saying that when he was doing this comedic role, he was like, I just tried to act like him the whole time.
Oh, really?
Which I think is just interesting, yeah, and it got him the part. I don't know.
That's really cool. Well, you see, I've also, when I act, I am definitely inspired by some actors and how they play. Because I like stealing. I like repeating existing people.
Yeah, I honestly, I want to get more into it because there's a lot of like interviews or just like short snippets that I've seen where actors are talking about like acting like other people, and you talk about that a lot, Dasha, where it's like you watch and observe. I need to work on my observational skills. Can't talk and look up at the same time.
I think you're a really good observer though.
I don't think I implement it though, and I think that it's not between Bradley Cooper, movie, hotel.
Well, I think she does, but.
The Hangover. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh my god.
Yeah, hilarious movie though.
That's pretty.
Really enjoy Vince Vaughn though, and also he kind of continues to play a specific archetype. Something that I don't love about my humor is that I tend to like a lot of old white guys. I like old white guy humor, and I wish I didn't as much. No, I don't wish that I didn't as much. I guess I wish that I found people that aren't just white old dudes funny. Yeah. Someone else that I find really funny is Seth MacFarlane, though. I have Ted pulled up right now. Family Guy. And yeah, as I'm going through this list right now, Will Ferrell I think is absolutely hilarious. I think a common thread between all of these things is I like a somewhat normal situation kind of blown out of proportion, where you've been kind of bringing up like these kind of almost more out of proportion situations that are brought down to earth. I like a normal thing that's a little bit blown out of the water.
What's his name? Zach Wood? Zach. He's really
Oh yeah, he's in The Office.
He was in The Office like late seasons for some time, but overall, if you see him giving interviews, he's really funny. He knows how to joke. He loves irony, self-irony, and I think that's self-irony is the
self-deprecating sense of humor.
I love that, and I think I was growing up in the family. They would joke a lot. They would joke at me, like make jokes out of me. And laugh at me, and I would be offended all the time, and they would be like, Dasha, if you cannot make jokes out of yourself, you don't have humor.
I was growing up the exact same way.
Yeah.
And it's also just like, it's such in improv, another kind of improv basic rule that we talk about is like, if you lose, you win. And that comes from the standpoint of like, you don't want to like, if you're making an improv scene, I don't want to paint you as the bad guy. I don't want to say you're a bully or whatever. But if I turn myself into someone who's being bullied, or somebody who's dumb or stupid or whatever, somebody who is self-deprecating themselves, every single person in the audience feels comfortable to relate and to then laugh at and with you. I think it's really actually important to have a self-deprecating sense of humor. There's something like about humans that like find it very safe when somebody's able to like point out their own faults. Oh,
definitely. And I think that's so incredibly vulnerable, and I want to know this person more. I want to be friends with this person if they're so self-aware. And like so open and vulnerable. I just, it's great. It's great when people allow themselves to
be laughed at.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
cool. It's really hard for me sometimes as well, because it triggers me to that, like, to my childhood when I was, and I'm not saying, oh my god, I'm traumatized or anything, or I regret it that my family did that. No, I do it to my brother now. So of course, younger brother. But sometimes it's really hard for me still to do it, to laugh at myself, and I'm working towards making jokes out of myself rather than out of someone else.
I think I feel very comfortable making jokes out of myself.
I do, but it's like sometimes, like, I'm from Ukraine, right? Everyone, and like I would joke. People don't know how to react now yet to those jokes, and it's fine, obviously. And another thing, I don't know, a lot of people ask me, what if I joke about the war right now in front of you? How do you react and stuff? And I don't know. I'm not sure that I would be okay if you joke about it, but if I joke about it, it's different because I've experienced it. And again, I don't want to say no to
like
jokes.
Put rules on it.
Jokes are jokes. But unless you want to insult me or to offend me, you're good.
And that's also like are you making the joke to laugh, or are you doing it to hurt somebody?
Exactly. Which is where and overall it brings to the point that overall, like, bullying, like toxic humor. I don't like toxic humor. Sometimes maybe as like a cool, a
one-off,
but not constantly just joking, laugh at people. It's not funny. It's just rude and disrespectful.
And oftentimes I find that the people that only know how to laugh at other people,
they don't know how to laugh at themselves. Exactly.
And just makes everybody walk on eggshells around you.
You also had here stand-up. We didn't talk about
stand-up. It's a world that I would like to get more into. I think my mom really, really loves stand-up, and my mom has a lot of stand-up artists that she talks about. And I think what makes stand-up so interesting to me is because it tends to be more than just about the jokes. Like, I think with movies or TV shows, it's more situational, sitcom, situational comedy. But like with stand-up, a lot of the artists that are spoken about or popularized are people that are kind of like approaching political issues, or approaching political issues or cultural things that are like difficult to talk about, but they're putting it into a manageable format. Also, it's crazy, like when you watch somebody prep for a stand-up show, that stuff is prepped out second to second. There was this Instagram reel I came across the other day where there was a stand-up comedian. He was like, want to see how good my timing is? Hey, guy in the audience, start counting backwards from 60. And, like, used the time. So he was like, when my mom was 40. And, like, he used that guy counting down using those numbers to create a joke out of it. But, yeah, it's timed out to the second. Also, earlier I said I can't remember the last time I saw a sketch. That's a lie. SNL.
Yeah, true.
Anyway.
True. And interesting, when we talked about Molière in the first part, we didn't mention that he wrote comedies, by the way, as well. And in his comedies, timing was really important because he was writing in very specific, I don't remember how, like, very specific rhythm.
Verse?
Yeah, but like I don't remember the name of the rhythm that was used in his place. Like I don't remember that, but it's really cool how in that time, like it was 1600s, they used comedic time and they know how to say the joke so it's funny, and tells the story. Very cool.
Timing. It's not something you can teach either. It's hard to teach.
It's very hard to teach. Even when we learned in sitcom.
It's really hard to teach.
It's really hard to teach.
Yeah. I wish I could bring more of my timing up in things. I remember when I was a kid, I like was saying something mean but funny about my dad, and my dad was like, we should not let her speak this way, and my mom was like, we're teaching her comedic timing. And I love that. Yeah, it's hard though to bring that to life.
You know who has comedic great timing, who you also know?
Yeah, he's fantastic.
So
traumatized too. Sorry that he was somebody that just brought that up, but a lot of people who are funny tend to have gone through like great depths of trauma. All of what we said though, it's just so full circle and ties in. Like if you are able to be self-deprecating and are able to look inside of yourself and your own life and see how kind of stupid and idiotic like life is and how everybody has a crazy fucking story, it makes you able to joke about everything. The more you've experienced, the more you have to joke about.
Definitely. And
comedy.
And Succession is one of those things when it's so funny.
It's so funny.
He's
so funny.
He is so funny. The writers are funny. I think Nicholas Brown and Matthew, this dude. Oh my god, he's just fantastic. You should watch Succession if you haven't seen Succession. It's comedy and tragedy in one show, which I just said I love.
It's grand.
Yeah, and it's just hilarious. It's hilarious, and again, seeing how people. He's British, but he's playing American so well that it's so scary. But yeah.
That's an interesting thing, playing somebody from different culture. I wonder how much research you have to do, like if you're playing somebody from, I guess I don't speak any other languages, so I couldn't, but like, I don't know, if I was playing somebody from the South.
If you would play in British accent,
sure. As somebody, like how much research does that person have to do on culture to understand the jokes?
Huge.
Or are they, You think huge?
I mean, for me to play American, definitely. Or like for me to play, even to play Ukrainian character, you still would do research.
Sure.
To play American,
for any role you do research. But I guess it's just like, I'm asking, like, does that actor rely on what the writers have given them? And like play those jokes specifically, or like how much input?
If I'm not wrong, Jesse Armstrong, who wrote the Succession. He's also British, or I don't think he's American. Maybe he's not British. Screenwriter, but he wrote about American big family, which is interesting. I guess when you speak the same language, even though you're from different countries and you're from Europe and America, you still know what's going on inside of the pop culture. It's easier for you to grab this information and to have this. So I guess for them, I guess they relied, and also Matthew was acting a lot in America and just in general. So I guess he just need to repeat those accent stuff, and for any role you would do research anyway and prepare. So
do you, when you are an actress, when you continue to act, when you grow up, no really though, do you see yourself doing a lot of comedies? Do you see yourself writing a lot of comedies?
Yes.
I see you writing a lot of comedies, but I feel like I don't hear you talk as much about the acting as a comedian as much as like the writing and the production side of comedy.
I think well, in sitcom class, I think you and me, we were good in like sitcom. I think we know the comedic timing.
Yeah.
I think we know how to do it. We need practice, obviously.
I'm incredibly anxious about it. I'm anxious about the things that I really care about.
And it's okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking too about like games. Like, what's it called? Cards Against Humanity. Those like just funny games and stuff. Yeah. It's funny how much we want to be vulgar and gross.
Right? Because that's the point of Greek theater. That's why they were so free. They could do it all the time, and they would have like constant joy all the time, you know. And now we're so sheltered that even the grasp of something disgusting, it's already like, oh my god, it's so funny. Yeah, interesting. And we cannot judge like people who were dying on stage while doing, because at that time that's what they were doing. Right now we're doing Succession and we're thinking that's method acting. That's so scary when people were actually dying. Presenting.
Real. We do. People talk a lot about method acting. Have a lot of opinions about method acting, but talk about method.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, is that time?
I don't know. Is that time? Yeah, I think so. Well, before finishing, what we were thinking to do? I think we had like interesting.
Who would we invite to if we were to do stand up? Who would we want to be there?
We would not want to be there.
Yeah. Or like we could like who would you Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but who would you want to follow as a comedian? Or like who would you want to see? Because honestly, Steve Carell is great for me.
Definitely. And Amy Poehler,
Tina Fey,
all the Second City people.
Yeah, I guess we didn't talk too much about improv, but
it's okay.
That's an interesting thing.
I would, if I do stand up, I want my mom to come on my first show because I know she will love the hell out of her lungs to support me, and I respect her for that and I appreciate her for that. What?
Ricky Gervais. I would want Ricky Gervais to come to my stand-up show. Oh my gosh, I kind of forget about him sometimes. I get really into it. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think.
Up the world.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais is great. His stand-up's great.
Yeah. I saw some of his stand-up. I don't watch, but he wrote also, Ricky. Ricky
Gervais. There's also Steve Martin and Martin Short. Do you know them? Two more white guys.
I know Steve Martin.
Dude, oh my gosh, I need to branch out more. Famous, I think, in like I don't want to age him more, like 70s. 70s, 80s. This is Steve Martin, and then...
This is a documentary about him just came out.
I actually... cool. We'll be looking into that.
Someone told us about it. I don't remember. Maybe Dave.
Yeah? Maybe. I was not paying attention. I'd really like a lot of his old stuff, though. There's a great... Doesn't matter. Okay. We're on it at the same time. Because I guess they met each other and like became comedic friends like kind of a long time ago. Steve Martin was way more famous than Martin Short at the time. They were talking about their experience. So they have a show that's still going on, and it was just interesting because the way that their show morphs, it's like each show they add in a new skit, and they take one out.
Only Murders in the Building with Selena Gomez, with both of them.
I haven't seen it, actually.
I haven't seen that, too.
I probably want them, too, though. I like the kind of Fathers of Comedy vibe. They're great. And they're so silly more than even, like, funny. They're just silly.
And it's cool when you can let go in humor. Yeah. I like that. I would lie if I say that I don't like stupid humor like that. Sometimes that's what I need. Yeah, probably that's why I'm friends with Jalen.
Shout out Jalen. Who else would you invite to yours?
I would invite my mom. I would invite my dad. I would invite my probably brother, but I don't know. But I wouldn't invite any people who made it.
Oh.
Pretty simple question, answer. I would just do stand up for my family. I would not invite anyone else. I would be very famous. Yeah.
Okay. You want to clap it out?
I'm gonna clap it out and stay tuned for part 3. Links below. Thank you for sticking with us and see you soon.